It's a shalom. So if y'all don't know me already, which I'm pretty sure everybody in here do, I'm also able. And we're gonna go into the name of the class is Mordecai's Day and Esau's Hate. All right, so we're gonna go into a little bit about the Persian captivity, stuff that a lot of people don't hear nothing about. Yeah, we're gonna start off with the picture with the words on there, because it's very important to know what we was dealing with. You know what I'm saying, when we was in the Persian captivity, because the Persian captivity is right after the Babylonian captivity. That means we already had 70 years of dealing with the heathens. All right, 70 years. We're gonna go over all that. Officer, when you got it, when you read it, I'm going to read that.
Sir. The restoration of temple and people required a reassertion of the distinctive identity of Israel and her faith.
So I should have opened up explaining this. So during the Persian and Medes captivity, we was allowed to go back and rebuild the temple. All right, that's what we talking about. We was allowed to go back. We're gonna go over that. Don't worry about it. But we was allowed to go back and rebuild the temple. All right. So Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, Ezra, they had to do these things. And I want to see if y'all can find the common thing behind this. So read that from the top again.
The restoration of temple and people required a reassertion of the distinctive identity of Israel and her faith.
So the first thing they was doing, they had to give us back our identity. If we wasn't going around saying that we was Israel like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? We was doing whatever. We was surrounded with a lot of people. So we had to reclaim our identity, reclaim our forefathers. Read on.
Together with separation from other peoples and pagan beliefs.
You see that? You got to separate from other people and pagan beliefs, because those other people are going to bring what? The pagan belief. That's what you get in Deuteronomy 73. You marry them, then what happens? Exactly. You start worshiping their gods and their pagan beliefs. So some of these brothers that go to camp, they already know that's the first thing we always teach. Your identity, go into your faith, and we go into you repenting. And part of that repentance is, guess what? No pagan beliefs. You got to separate from those people. All right, that's what we going into. So you can take that down. So the first thing that we did, I want to show y'all this real quick. Give me Deuteronomy 28. Start at 1. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Cause we gotta re-identify ourselves. Re-identify. Read that when you're ready.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So the first thing you got to do, let them realize that, because you're coming off from Babylon. So you got to remind them of that. Then you got to remind them of this. Jump to verse 15, because you got to remind our people.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
And then you got to make them understand about that. You understand? So they got to re-identify themselves. Jump to 46. Read 46 and 47 together.
Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
And as you know, the they is those curses. Going to be upon thee for a sign and a wonder. Read on.
And upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
Keep reading.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
So you got to read that to them, because you know you're coming out of Babylonian captivity. They'll know that they are Benjamin. They will know that they are, They'll know they Benjamin. They'll know they Judah. They'll know that. But they don't know, they're not going to really know about, how to understand the Bible, understand the scriptures, understanding their forefathers, what they went through. They're not going to know that. Because a lot of them was born in captivity. They was born in Babylon. Because, it was in Babylon for 70 years by the time the Persian captivity hit. All right? So, let's go from there. And actually, you got to restore their faith in what they're supposed to do, the commandments. I'm going to get that real quick. Get Revelations 14-12. That's the quick one. I'm going to hit you with some of the basics so you can know what's going on. Talking about the Persian captivity.
The book of Revelations, chapter 14 and verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus.
All right, so you got to keep the commandments of God and the faith in Jesus. They got to understand that. Back then, it would have been, you keep the commandments of God. They probably didn't know who Jesus was back then, but that's what we teach. All right, now go back to the picture. I'm gonna read so much of that. That's from the Nelson's Bible and Maps. All right, read whatever you left out. The restoration is taking place. Read that.
The restoration was taking place in the context of the Persian Empire, in which the dominant religious tendency was the merging of religious beliefs.
Was the what? Read that again. Was the what?
Was the merging of religious beliefs.
Was the merging of religious beliefs. Read on.
Into one.
Into one. It's always been that way. Always been that way. Give me First Maccabees and 41.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
You see that? Even the Grecians did the same thing. All should be one people. Read on.
That all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
See, they were trying to merge the people together and everybody leave their laws. And they saw how the Persians went, and they were like, hey, everybody's come together, be one. Democracy. Everybody come together. Guess what? The Persians was doing the same thing. They was more like, you know what? Everybody do you. Do your religion. Same thing they do here. Hey, you want to be Episcopalian? I don't even really know what that is, but I've been hearing it sometimes. You can be that. Protestant. Be a Protestant. Be a Seventh-day Adventist. Be a Muslim. Be a Shiite Muslim. Be whatever type of Muslim you want to be. Be a Buddhist. Do you. And then they'll say what? Hey, you can't, just don't agitate anybody else about their religion. Don't bother anybody else. Then they start merging the two. Like most of the religions that we see is merged from the Roman Empire. It's emerging for their paganism. It's merging for the Romans, and you go even farther back, you go all the way back to Egypt. That's what all the religions that you see are based off that. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to Daniel. Go to Daniel, because first we got to understand how we got there. What happened in the Persian captivity? Well, all of a sudden, like, hey, you know what? You guys can go back and build that temple. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand that first. Let's start at let's go Daniel chapter 2. Let's start at verse 17.
Daniel chapter 1.
1 and verse 17.
And verse 17. As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now, at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar, and the king communed with them.
You see that they had special talents. So the king communed with them. Read on.
And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king.
Therefore they stood they before the king because of their talents. All right, give me Proverbs 18 to 16. Proverbs 18 to 16. Because you got to understand, when you got talent, guess what? You can be used. Everybody has that certain talent. As leaders, we got to know how to put them in this place where they can prosper, all right? Let me know when you got Proverbs 18 to 16. Read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 18 and verse 16. A man's gift maketh room for him, and bringeth him before great men.
You see that? His gift can bring him before great men. Daniel had that gift. Daniel, Mishael, Azariah, they had that gift. All right? They had the gifts. That's why they was brought before the king. So they was literally working side by side with the king. You know what I'm saying? Of Babylon. In a Persia, we're going to read that too. Let's jump to verse. Stay in Daniel. They get 5 and jump from 5 and 25.
The book of Daniel, chapter 5 and verse 25. And this is the right.
Just work through it, man. It's going to be a hard read, man. Just work through it.
Yes,
read
sir.
it.
And verse 25. And this is the writing that was written. Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balance and art found wanting. Peres, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians.
That kingdom is divided and given to the Persians and the Medes. I read on.
Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet and
with purple. Read on.
And put a chain of gold about his neck.
I still don't understand that, but it is what it is. Even back then, we would put the chain on your neck. You know, say you put you in some purple, put that chain around your neck. Read on.
And made a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom.
So Daniel got promoted to be the third ruler of the kingdom. You talking about these brothers came from being slaves, the third ruler of the kingdom. Gift behind that. I read on.
Verse 30. In that night.
It's very important. In that night
Was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain.
He was slain in that night. Read on.
And Darius the Median. Took the kingdom, being about 62 years old.
Being about 62 years old, he took the kingdom. All right, let's jump to. So Darius took over, right? Darius the Median. So he took over. Let's see what happened when he took over. What happened? It's going to chapter 6. He had presidents. He had, when you take over, you got to set people in place. You got to have your government, basically. You know what I'm saying? Your governing body. What you going to do with all these people? How you going to govern all the people? You don't want to do it by yourself, especially you're a king. You trying to chill. Trying to have a couple of concubines here and there. Trying to relax a little bit. I'm king now, So he had all those people put in place. And let's read what they did. Let's go to chapter 6, verse 6. Read that.
Daniel chapter 6 and verse 6. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever.
You see that? They always say, long live the king. King Darius, live forever. Read on.
All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors, and the princes, the counselors, and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition.
So whosoever shall ask of something, right? Read on.
Of any god.
Of any god. Why they say of any god? What we just read about the Persians. You can grab the mic. It's right there. They wanted to. There was merging religions, right? So they merged all of. They were trying to make everything one and everybody good. So it said to any god. Read on.
Or man for 30 days, save of thee.
So they said, hey, none of y'all can pray to any of your gods. Make a petition. Because when we make a petition, what you ask for a blessing for your God. All right. He said nobody can do that in or asking anything for a man for 30 days except the king. For 30 days. All right. So read on.
Save of thee, O king. He shall be cast into the den of lions.
He gonna be cast where?
Into the den of lions.
Now jump to verse 10.
Verse 10. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he sent into his house.
He went into his house.
And his windows being open, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem. He kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime.
You see that? He was like, you know what? I'm gonna pray anyway. I did that before time. I'm gonna do it anyway. All right. So let's jump to verse 12.
Verse 12.
Actually, no, let's just read on. Read on from there.
Verse 11.
Yeah.
Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God.
So they saw him. They're like, "Oh, what you doing? Didn't we just make a decree that you gonna get thrown in the lions? Get thrown to the lions, bro." So they went back to the king. Cause I'm gonna just paint the picture because there's a lot to read. We went back to the king, be like, "Hey, we made this decree. You signed, sealed, and delivered it. This brother was out here praying for a God when we told him not to. What do you think they did to Daniel? Threw him in the lions then." All right, let's go to let's jump all the way over to verse 21.
Verse 21. Then said
Well,
Daniel.
hold on. We're gonna read up from there. Verse. Ah, you good? Verse 21. That'll do.
Verse 21. Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel.
You see that? My God. Yeah, he got to say my God because he know that everybody had their own little thing they was doing. Read on.
And hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt.
See that? You like, hey, I ain't did nothing. I'm good. I'm innocent. He said, my God sent angels to protect me. I'm good. Read on.
Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions.
You see that? They was hating on Daniel. They put him in the den of lions, and then guess what? Now we're going to cast you in the den of lions. Got a little theme to it. There's a reason why I use this story. Y'all understand. We talking about Mordecai's day. Shout out to Benjamin. Hey, there's a little theme to it. That's why I use this part of it to show you how great our people were. Read on.
Them, their children, and their wives.
Do all of them in there. Pay attention now. Everything comes together. Read on.
And the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den.
You see they coming to the bottom of the den, they ripping them apart. Breaking their bones, snatching them up, ripping their bodies apart. All right, keep reading.
Verse 25. Then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall be not destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. He delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth. Who hath delivered Daniel from the power of the lions?
Read on, last one.
So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian.
See that? So Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus because of what his God did. Now let's jump in. Let's get to 2 Chronicles. Let me know when you get there. 2 Chronicles 36. We're gonna start at 15. Let me know when you get there. 15. 36 and 15. Last chapter in Chronicles. We're going to go up. Now we getting into some of it. We going a little slow. I want y'all to remember what happened to Daniel and what the king did. They that accused him had to deal with what they did to him. And we got certain laws like that too. If we got time, I go into it. You accuse somebody and it turned out that you were being wicked, guess what? You had to get whatever you thought they was gonna get, you had to get it. You get what I'm saying? Go ahead. You got a question? All right, go ahead.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 36 and verse 15. And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers rising up betimes and
Your time, go ahead.
and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place.
You see that he can start having compassion on his people because right now we was in Babylonian captivity. We had compassion. Read on.
But they mocked the messengers of God and despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, till there was no remedy.
So you see that right now, going through the little history of how we was acting. We always killed our people, man. Hey, you look through the script. It was put to death. We was killing the prophets. It's showing how we was mocking the messengers, because we had the messengers, which is the prophets, telling them, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Come back to the Lord. Stop worshiping Baal. We always had that. Read on.
Verse 17. Therefore, he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees.
See, therefore, guess what, Jews, I should say. He brought them the Chaldeans. Read on.
Who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young man or maiden, old man or him that stooped for age.
And you read that in Deuteronomy 28. That's part of the curses right there. They don't care how old you are. Read on.
He gave them all into his hand, and all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king, and of his princes. All these he brought to Babylon.
See that? He brought all of them to Babylon. All of them with, read on.
And they burnt the house of God.
And burnt what?
And they burnt the house of God.
They tore down the temple. Read on.
And break down the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof. And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons, until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
Until when?
The kingdom of Persia.
Until the reign of the kingdom of Persia. Read on.
To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 70 years.
What is 70 years? 70. 3 scores and 10. A score is 20. 10 years, 70 years. I read on.
Now in the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth hath the Lord God of heaven given me, and he hath charged me to build him an house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? The Lord his God be with him, and let him go up.
See that? Now, we're going to see. They said, let's go to Jeremiah. They said something about Jeremiah. We're going to see what Jeremiah said. Jeremiah 25:11, real quick. Jeremiah 25:11. Because what we're doing right now, we setting up what took place. So we was in Babylon 70 years because of what the prophet Jeremiah said. So we're going to read that.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 25 and verse 11. And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. And it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation, saith the Lord, for their iniquity and the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it perpetual desolations.
You see that? So after that 70 years, he gonna punish the king of Babylon after that 70 years. All right. So go from there to go to Ezra. We're gonna get into it. Go to Ezra chapter 1. Let's see what because guess what? Actually, let's go back to Daniel. I'm gonna almost miss something. Gotta understand. So those are the prophecies. 70 years. Give me 9. Chapter 9 and 1. My bad. 9 and 1.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 1.
It's not in my notes, but I want to touch this point.
In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolations of Jerusalem. And I set my face unto the Lord God, to seek by prayer and supplications, with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed unto the Lord my God, and made my confession, and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to them that keep his commandments.
All right, and that's it on that. Go to Isaiah. Go to Isaiah chapter 44, verse 28. 44 and 28. We setting up the Persian captivity. Setting up the Persian captivity.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 44 and verse 28. That saith of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and shall perform
This
all...
is the Most High talking. This is my shepherd. He is my shepherd. Meaning he going to be the leader. And see what he going to do. Read.
He is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure.
So he going to make him perform his pleasure. You know?
Even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple thy foundation shall be laid.
You see that? He's going to lay down the foundation for the temple. All right? And a lot of people always say, I'm going to ask you the question, what? Most High can move, he talking to, he moving the heathen? Yeah, he can do whatever he want to do. Jump to, chapter 46 and 10. Isaiah chapter 46.
Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 10. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand.
My counsel shall stand.
And I will do all my pleasure.
And the Most High going to do whatever he want to do. He going to do all his pleasure. He can make anybody do whatever he want to do. He's the Most High God. They don't do nothing on their own. All right, let's go to Ezra chapter 1. Ezra chapter 1. So we see that the Persian king, the Medes and the Persians, they starting to see that, oh man, this is the real God. It was many gods. This is the real God. Delivered Daniel from the lion's den. You get what I'm saying? So they understood. So let's read what it said in Ezra chapter 1.
Ezra chapter 1 and verse 1. Now in the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying...
Hold on right there. You see that? Same thing we read before. He stirred up the spirit of Cyrus. That's what we read before, right? Read on.
Verse 2. Thus saith Cyrus king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all...
Read on.
Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem.
You see that? It said he is the God which is in Jerusalem. He knew he was the God. Read on, verse 4.
Verse 4. And whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver, and with gold, and with goods, and with beasts, beside the freewill offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem.
You see that? So whoever is left around, help him out. Go up there and help him out. That's that status that we had back then. Even with the Persian king. Because we was doing the good works. It's not a terror to good works. All right, read on. Give me verse 4.
Verse 4 again?
I'm not on chapter 4, verse 1. Chapter 4, verse 1.
Sir. Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel,
they said, oh, wait a minute. You got to understand. It was people that was still back there. It was people still it was people that stayed back. And there was heathens. Stayed back, and guess what? They it was like when they heard, it was like, what the hell is going on? They coming back to build a temple? Read on.
Then they came to Zerubbabel and
right.
to the chief of the fathers, and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek your God. As ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assur, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, Ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our God, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as King Cyrus the king of Persia hath commanded us.
See that? They were like, man, you don't got nothing to do with us. They heard we coming back to build a kingdom, like, we don't have nothing to do with us. Let's see how they responded. Because we see that all the time now. They cool. Oh, that's your religion, you good. But then the moment you be like, nah, we don't want you around like that. Tell the white man you don't want him in your school. Nah, we good. We want you in the school. Man, I can help you. Nah, I'm good. But they ain't included, they get pissed. So let's see how they reacted. Let's see how they reacted. Read on.
Verse 4, Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah.
Read that again.
Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah.
So they start weakening the hands of the people of Judah. They was pissed. Like, man, y'all ain't helping us. We don't need y'all. Read on.
And troubled them in building, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius king of Persia. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem.
Right. So, it's going to be an important part. They went to counselors and they wrote letters. All right, let's jump to verse 11. I'm going to read some of this letter. The letter is kind of long, so we ain't going to read it all. But it's very important that y'all understand this letter. You're going to hear stuff like this all through Persia. And doing this all the time. Start at verse 11.
Verse 11.
Let's jump to verse 11.
Yes, sir. Verse 11. This is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes the king. Thy servants, the men on this side the river, and at such a time. Be it known unto the king, that the Jews which came up from thee to us are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city.
You see that? Rebellious. They use negative word. They're rebellious in a bad city. Now, guess what? We gonna keep our law, statutes, and commandments. We don't bow down to nobody. We say, hey, pray to this God. No, we ain't. Hey, show them respect. Make sure you quiet because they humming to Allah, whatever the hell they be doing. You know, I don't got time for that, man. I got to tell her something. We're going to do our own thing. Be like, hey, that's no God. They just doing whatever they do. They praying to a rock. You know, they praying to something they got to move around. It's nothing. You know, so they got to put that, they got to hold that, strap it up, and walk it to another building. You get what I'm saying? They praying to that they got to move. They the God. What God that you got to move around for? You gotta clean it. You gotta move it around. You gotta take care of your God. That makes no sense. All right, read on.
Building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls thereof, and joined the foundations. Be it known now unto the king, that if this city be builded and the wall set up again, then will they not pay toll?
You see that? Now they claiming that, hey, they ain't gonna pay no tolls. You know,
Tribute
they ain't gonna pay no taxes.
and custom, and so thou shalt endamage the revenue of the kings.
He said, you ain't gonna get all your money, king. If you let them go out there and build this, you ain't get no money. They gonna be rebellious. They gonna be a headache. That's what they saying. They wrote that to the king to stop them from building. All right, jump to verse 23.
Verse 23. Now when the copy of King Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehum and Shimshai the scribe and their companions, they went up in haste to Jerusalem unto the Jews, and made them to cease by force and power. Then ceased the work of the house of God, which is at Jerusalem. So it ceased unto the second year of the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
See that? They caused us to stop building the temple. That's how much heat they start putting on us. All the fighting, all the craziness going on, they made us stop. And then read chapter 5. 5 and 1 real quick.
Ezra chapter 5, verse 1.
Every time something get crazy, it's always the Most High always brings somebody to help out. I'm gonna read.
Then the prophets.
Then the what?
Then the prophets.
Then the prophets came. Read on.
Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo prophesied unto the Jews that were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel, even unto them. Then rose up Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and began to build the house of God, which is at Jerusalem. And with them were the prophets of God helping them.
You see that? They pushed them. They're like, oh no, we ain't gonna stop doing this. We gonna build this thing. We gonna build it regardless of what they doing.
Right.
We gonna make this happen. You're like, don't worry about that. So we gonna fight until we get it right.
Ezra chapter 6, verse 14. And the elders of the Jews builded, and they prospered through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo. And they builded and finished it.
And they did what?
And finished it according to the commandment of the God of Israel, and according to the commandment of Cyrus and Darius and Artaxerxes, king of Persia. And this house was finished on the 3rd day of the month Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king. And the children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the children of the captivity, kept the dedication of this house of God with joy.
So they dedicated the house once they hooked it up and dedicated the house. They get to Nehemiah. We haven't really read nothing about Nehemiah yet. Nehemiah and chapter 2. It started 1.
Nehemiah.
Now we got to see the status of Nehemiah. We already see Ezra's doing his thing. See Zerubbabel, right? Well, we ain't went into Zerubbabel that much, but let's see what Nehemiah was doing.
Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, that wine was before him, and I took up the wine and gave it unto the king.
Because he was a cupbearer, so he had wine. He gave the wine to the king. Because you can't trust everybody when you're the king. Everybody trying to kill you, especially if you had a younger brother or something that was up next. So guess what? He was a cupbearer. He got to give the wine to him. So he had to smell the wine. He had to taste the wine. They should, okay, I ain't dead. All right, it's suitable for the king. Tastes good, and I ain't die from it. He was a cupbearer, so the king trusted him. You know?
Now I had not been before time sad in his presence. Wherefore the king said unto me, Why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid.
He started getting afraid. He coming around the king all pouting and looking all sad. You know, sometimes brothers walking around, I'd be like, man, what's wrong with you, man? Fix your face. If you be around me enough, you know, I tell you that sometimes. What's wrong with you? Face, man. You around, you know you a God, you around us now. Is whatever was going on before you got in here. Same thing. The king like, hey, man, you working for me. What the hell is wrong with you? Come around me like that. And so Nehemiah was like, oh, snap. We'll go read off.
Verse 3, and said unto the king, Let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad when the city, the place of my father's sepulchres, lieth waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire?
They're sad because, you know, this is Nehemiah. He's like, all right, yeah, I haven't been home, and look at my city. Everything ain't doing bad. But you read in Ezra that they actually built it up. That's what we just read. But this is going back. I just want y'all to understand where Nehemiah was coming from. Read on.
Verse 4, Then the king said unto me, For what dost thou make request? So I prayed to the God of heaven.
And he said, so what you want, man? What you doing? What you want? Whatever, you know. Read on.
And I said unto the king, If it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. And the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him.
You see that? He was with the queen and everything. He was with the royal family. So he talking to him, and the queen is sitting beside him. I'm not sure which queen this is. I know everybody looking at me. Who was that? Who was sitting beside her? Which queen was that? Vasti, whatever, however you say her name. Whatever, read.
For how long shall thy journey be? And when wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time.
So Nehemiah was like, yeah, I'll be back, but I want to go to Judah and help the brethren out. You understand? So he wasn't just like, oh, I'm just get up and leave. He made sure, like when we tell brother, hey, we're going to be traveling, make sure you talk to your boss or whatever. Brother be like, man, I ain't saying nothing, man. I don't want to do this. They ain't want to ask. But guess what? Nehemiah, what he had to do? He had to ask. Ask for the day off. That's what hey, can I get some time off? I don't know how much time he had. He just said I asked for the time. But like, brother was like, hey man, just ask for 3 days off, man. See what happens. Brothers don't want to do that. Nehemiah like, hey, I need some time off, man. He need some time off. You like, all right. He been working hard. You like, all right, yeah, you know, you got favor in my sight. You been working hard, making sure I'm good. Go ahead. You got some time off. Let's go to the book of. Actually, I want to introduce Zerubbabel. We did mention Zerubbabel. A lot of people don't know. You know, you gotta really read the Bible a little bit to know who Zerubbabel is. Let's see what his job was. That you know that all these brothers that I'm mentioning right now, they was all in the Persian captivity. Haggai, Zechariah, Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Ezra, Nehemiah. All right, let's see what Zerubbabel was doing. First Ezra 3 and 4. Read that real quick.
The book of First Ezra, chapter 3 and verse 4. Then 3 young men that were of the guard that kept the king's body spake one to another. Let everyone.
Wait. Fast. Said 3. Read that again really slow. I want y'all to understand what Zerubbabel was.
Then 3 young men that were of the guard.
Of the what?
That were of the guard.
They was of the guard. And what this kind of guard was? That kept
the king's body. Spake one to another.
He was the elite guard. Like he was like the personal guard of the king. He's the elite. He was like one. That let you know he one of the baddest soldiers out there. If he was stuck in his, I know y'all seen the movies when they stuck into the palace or whatever, and they only got like a couple of dudes left. And they like, all right, we're gonna make our last stand here. We're gonna see what they got. And they don't know how many people back there. They're like, whatever. That's how bad them brothers are when they be doing that. And guess what? Zerubbabel was one of them. And guess who came from out of his loins? Christ. Read that in Matthew 1. Be not going. And just to prove that, it said three young men, right? That was on the guard. Jump to verse 13. Verse chapter 4, verse 13. You see who the third young man was.
First Ezra chapter 4, verse 13.
Read.
Then the third, who had spoken of women and of their truth, this was Zerubbabel, began to speak.
See, that was Zerubbabel. They were talking and chit-chatting about what was the strongest things on the word. And Zerubbabel said it was the woman. That the woman can drive a man to doing a bunch of ridiculous stuff, go to war, stab him in the face, took king's crown off his head, put it on her head, just based off what she looked like. It's a lot to read. You can read it yourself, you know what I'm saying, and get some of what Zerubbabel was showing about how the women were some of the strongest people on earth. Not because they was physically strong, but they can mess with the mind of a man. All right? So that was Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel was an elite warrior. You had Nehemiah. He was a cupbearer. Ezra was a priest. You had all these. He was a priest. He's a scribe. All that stuff. And even right before then, you had like the Daniels, the Mishael. So we was always in the midst. No matter what would happen to us, I want everybody to understand that. We was slaves. And that thing, you know, like the person that bought us and put in slavery, like, you know what? He'll be my number 2. This brother good. That's that spirit of the Most High. You know what? This brother good. Actually, let me see. Can I find that? Get that in look for that in Proverbs. Yeah, 16:7.
Yeah.
I got it. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 7. When a man's ways please the Lord.
So when a man ways please the Lord, like when you keeping the commandments and your ways please the Lord, read.
He maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
He maketh his enemies at peace with him. Hey, look what Nehemiah did. He accomplished. He walked in the king's room like the whole world is beating on him, all mad and sobbing and all looking all sad. The king was like, you know what? But you all right, guy. I can trust you. Ain't no guile in you. You ain't playing me for no food. You good to go. You know what I'm saying? Actually, read that in Romans 13.
Romans chapter 13 and verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
You see that? Let every soul be subject to a higher power. Read on.
For there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God.
See that? Who did God ordain? Brothers in the front, y'all got a mic over there. Who did God ordain from what we talking about in the Persian captivity? Who did he ordain? We just read it not too long ago. I don't know if you was in here. Who want to take a crack at it? No? Somebody help him out. The button is the button right above the mute. It say mute, but above it, some of them, and putting that use in them. We teach a lot here.
Check.
You right in front of the speaker. That's
Are we talking about King Cyrus?
there. You go. Next time, man, you gotta say it strong, man. Be strong and wrong. It's King Cyrus.
We're talking about King Cyrus.
There you go. There you go. You've been here the whole time. You know what's going down. King Cyrus. He said, be subject to King Cyrus. That's what it pretty much saying. Be subject to King Cyrus. The Most High put him in his place. The Most High put him in there. He put it. We read that already. Read that. Read Romans 13:1 from the top.
Yes, sir. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God.
Read them. Keep on read.
Whosoever therefore resisteth the power.
And when you start resisting the power that God put there, and this ain't no. You gotta understand, and this is what we put out all the time about the mammon. Hey, if they let you go to the Sabbath day, they let you get off on your feast days. Guess what? You don't want that manager to get sick. I don't care what. You like, hey, you know what? God, please, it getting cold outside. Please, I want that woman to get sick because I need this time off. Like, I pray for this woman that she's okay. Yeah, I don't want no other boss. You get what I'm saying? My brother be like, I don't know. I don't be praying for no heathen. I'm like, hey, they hooking me up. You got to stick around. Let this heathen do his job or her job, whatever it is. Let her do his job. Guess what? I'm gonna teach. I'm gonna teach. I'm gonna go teach shit. I'm gonna go do this. They pretty lenient, whatever. See what they were saying to the king. What did Nehemiah say to the king when he walked in there? Anybody know?
Long live the king.
And you go. The king liveth forever. Showing his respect. Like, if I ever gonna get this spot that I want, I'm ever gonna get out of here and go help build, I gotta give him this due diligence. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I ain't trying to say you go, brown nosing when you get to work. I'm just saying, do your job, you do it good. And guess what? You might get some benefits. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna respect you. You like, hey, yo, you always innocent. I don't see you out here playing and talking about hoes and sports all the time. You doing your work. Trust me, they be listening. They ain't gonna say it, but they can hear you sometimes. You're not allowed, especially you around a bunch of brothers, especially you around Judah. Got Judah get that high pitched voice when they're like, man, you just hear what? Stuff like that. They hear that. It's hard not to hear. That's just what we do. All right, so what was that, man?
Verse 2, Romans 13, verse 2.
Read that again.
Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works.
Rulers are not a terror to what?
Good works.
Rulers are not a terror for good works. That's just read in Proverbs. Read on.
But to the evil, wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same.
You see that? And then you're going to get what you need. You're going to have praises of same. All right. Now, jump right into it. It's Mordecai's day, and what was going on. So, read Esther chapter 1 and 1. And this is the thing. You seeing all this going on. We trying to rebuild stuff. Actually, you know what? Before we go there, it just popped in my head. Apologize. This is a little unscripted. Let's see what's going on. Let's get Book of Judith. Y'all got to understand all the stuff that was going on. The Book of Judith, chapter 4, and we hit verse 3 real fast. I want y'all to get the picture of all the stuff that was going on. Quick.
Judith, chapter 4 and verse 3. For they were newly returned from the captivity.
So they were newly returned from even in the Book of Judah, they were newly returned from the Babylonian captivity. Read on.
And all the people of Judea were lately gathered together, and the vessels, and the altar, and the house were sanctified after the profanation.
You see that? And it was sanctified. Now, I'm going to put it this way. In the meantime, while this was going on, let's go to the Book of Esther and see what else was going on in the meantime. That's the heavy stuff, right? Let us see what else was going on in the meantime. You got to wrap your head about all this stuff that's going on. 'Cause a lot of people don't really go into the Persian captivity like that. But if we doing all this stuff, we trying to build, they trying to fight us, they trying to stop us, they telling lies on us. And they always talking about we evil, we rebellious, and we ain't have nothing to do with them because we don't want them to be by our side, but we building our own temple. They're like, go do your thing. It's Esther chapter 1 verse 1.
Esther.
The scriptures say, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV.
Do you know history?
I'm going to show you and prove to you that the Israelites are black, were always black.
Dance for time, just move up your body. Don't get loose and groove on the body. Bruise, wine.
Put on the armor, the procedure complete. Me nah go back, nah retreat. All traitors, every Jezebel must get delete. Me no sleep on a demon, me keep a full clip. Conspire me downfall, cause them want to me slip. Stay close to the real ones, we seal off and legit. Cause I gotta use them to keep your soul from the pit. This a war life.
Chapter 1 verse 1.
Esther chapter 1 and verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia.
Xerxes the first. Read on.
Over 172 provinces, that in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days.
See that? So he was pretty much showing off, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look at all this conquering I'm doing. Let me call some of my homeboys over here and let them see what I got. You know, so I don't know. Oh yeah, all praises. All y'all, about my age or whatever, not you, like my uncle. But all y'all about my age, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what we do. When we buy a house, what we gonna do? What coming next? It start with a C. I know y'all from Florida, but it start with a C. We always do this. We buy a house. What happening right after we buy that house? What? Y'all gonna have a car. Judah ain't gonna. There you go. Somebody Judah. Somebody Judah right there. You Judah, ain't it? I told you, I already knew it. We having a cookout right after that. We gotta show everybody. Boy, look at. Anybody do it too? Huh? Say what? Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yep, Levi was doing kickouts all the time too. Levi, that's their whole thing. They came out of the Exodus doing cookouts. Hey, but hey, guess what, bro? That's how you do it. That's the Jew right there. All people know that that's what you're gonna do. So you see how he's showing off now. He's like, let me invite some of my friends off. We still calm time. We already, so we got the kingdom. Still messing around with them Greeks over there, but we good to go. So what was that? Read what you got.
Verse 5, sir.
Go on, read on.
And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen, and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble.
Right. Now, King got his thing going on, right? He inviting people for dinner. He having his thing. Jump to verse 9. Let's see what his wife or queen was doing.
Verse 9. Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for...
Wait. She made her own feast too. She's like, I got my own thing going on. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all seen that plenty of times. Be like, hey, all the men, let's go out real quick. Boost the brotherhood. That's what we say, the brotherhood. Next thing you know, the sister went, we gonna go out too. Have this thing called the sisterhood. I'm like, that doesn't exist. I know it's a movie in the 70s that it exists, and when you see that movie, you can be like, all right, that's why it don't exist. But that's the thing. The sisterhood. What you talking about, sisterhood? The hell is that? It ain't in the Bible, it don't mean nothing. Right. It ain't true. It ain't a thing. Just throw that out there. So Vashti, you're like, all right, I'm gonna have a little dinner for the sisterhood.
Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which
for the women. You don't want no men around,
in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus.
You see, who house that was?
To King Ahasuerus.
So when they was trying to have a sisterhood at your house, just saying, you know,
Verse 10, on the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mahuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zathar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on.
you see that? You see that, right? So he drinking, he chilling, he having a good time. He showing off. He called his wife, hey, bring my wife here, man. Hey, y'all got to chill. She bad. He like, man, I'm busy. I got my own feast going on. What the hell is wrong with you? You ain't coming up. Tell him, leave me alone. You know, we out here with our sisterhood thing. You know what I'm saying? We doing our own thing over here. Why is he bothering me? I don't know. You see what's going on. 'Cause trust me, we've been through this at IUIC before. Sisters be doing their own thing, and men was like, yo, they on these classes or whatever for 4-5 freaking hours, and I can't get my wife to cook no food because she's doing these freaking classes and sitting there talking about a sisterhood thing that they got going on. Bishop went in. All praise to the Most High for IUIC leadership. Because it ain't a thing. You won't find that in the Bible. Read that again. He drinking, he having fun, and now he got to show off. You know, you show off the house, and what you going to show off later? You're going to show off the woman. That the woman is an extension of you, supposedly. Read that.
Verse 11, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
So she didn't even say it. She sent the women. You're like, hey, tell him I ain't going. He like, yo, tell him that I ain't going over right now. I got the women here. We chilling. Whatever. Read verse 13.
Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shathar, Admatha, Tarshish, Maris, Marsina, and Mamukin, the 7
Go ahead and jump to verse 17.
Verse 17. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women.
Because she's sitting there with the women. You're like, what the hell? You know, did that in front of all of our wives, in front of everybody. It's going to go abroad. Everybody going to know. You know, if it's more than 3 women know, all the women know. Because it is what it is at that point. All of them know. And you probably get one man that kind of know, but when she told him, he was doing something else. So he was like, doing something else. He didn't know what the hell she was really talking about. That's what happened. We hear you, but we don't know what's going on. You know.
So that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported. Then the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
Now they know that your household is going to be in contempt and wrath. They already, you see how smart they are? They already know, like, hey, man, these women start popping off the mouth. They don't want to do nothing you say. It's going to be wrath here. They ain't going to work out. Read on.
Verse 19, if it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus.
And get rid of her, man. Read on.
And let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
That is what is than she?
That is better than she.
That's important to know. Give it to somebody better. She don't deserve this. Jump down to verse 22.
Verse 22. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, and to every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house.
Every man should do what?
That every man should bear rule in his own house.
Get that on 1 Timothy 3 and 5. Because this is the thing. If the king wasn't out doing his business, doing all this other stuff, remember what Zerubbabel said? He said the woman is the most powerful thing. So He like, no, bro. Woman is the most powerful thing. Read that when you got it.
1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
So you got to know how to rule your own house first. If you everything you say go in one end out of the other, something's wrong. Something is wrong. You got to examine it because the person that's gonna know is gonna be you. Usually it's gonna be you. You just think about it, examine yourself like the scripture says. You're gonna know. And I ain't trying to say you just don't have no evil wife, because some of us, we was evil and we took in evil, showed what we were. Your friend's gonna show who you are. That's how we got her. The wicked woman for a wicked man. You already know it's gonna happen. You was wicked, she was wicked, and y'all put y'all wicked together. It's just double the wickedness in the house. And just one of y'all woke up, most out, Christ woke you up, bam, and you still with this wicked woman. You like, oh God, what was I thinking? I can't do nothing with her no more. Some of y'all do it too fast though. Sometimes you gotta wait on your wives. Wait on your wives, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Most men do. Women, on the other hand, like, how long you been here, sister? 2 weeks. Can I get rid of my husband? No. Why would you want to do that? Like, what you talking about? My husband don't believe. I've been talking to him for 7 days. I'm like, and what have you been able to accomplish in his eyes to move him in 7 days? Nothing, exactly. So you need to focus on yourself. You need to repent, and maybe he'll follow suit. Women be they jump in this truth, be trying to find a way, a means of divorcing this man. What's wrong with you? All that on verse 22. Jump back to Esther verse 22.
Yep. Esther chapter 1 verse 22. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, and to every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
You remember what we read earlier at the beginning of the class, that they merged everybody. They let everybody do their own thing. So they had to put it in all the different languages. He had what, 100 and how many provinces?
127.
127 provinces. So there's going to be a lot of languages in there. I read on 2 and 1.
Esther chapter 2 verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
The fair young virgins. I be saying this all the time. Your older and younger sisters need to know and need to tell the rest of them. Men don't like high body counts. Never been and never will be. How much of a whoremonger that man was. If you had a twin sister, your sister had never had a man before, you're gonna lose that battle every time. Every time you're gonna lose that battle. And am I right? Hey, these are elder. Oh, you right? Am I right? You losing that battle every time. You're gonna lose that battle. You're never gonna win that. Possible. All right, so let's jump to. So he put a decree out that he's gonna be looking for virgin women. All right, so let's jump to verse 5. Let's get into Benjamin real quick.
Verse 5. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai.
So I want you to understand, he's at the palace too. These brothers went from Babylon, being slaves, now they at the palace. Read on.
The son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
A what?
A Benjamite.
You gotta give our brothers their flowers, man. I know how Judah get down. We try to, well, I ain't gonna go there. I'll just let it go. We gonna give Benjamin they flowers, man. We go to Benjamin. Hey, read on.
Verse 6. Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
You see that? He was part of all of it. He seen it all. Probably a young man, but he seen it all. You know what I'm saying? He seen it all. He got brought up right. He knew how to carry himself. Read on.
And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter,
if it's his uncle's daughter, what is she to Mordecai? His uncle's daughter. You have your uncle has a child. What is that to you? You get fight for the game. Gotta hit that button. Button is red right now. I'm gonna hit it one time. Go green. Green or red?
I say cousin.
All right. Yep. That's right. That's his cousin. A lot of people get confused all the time and say, "Oh, that's he was her uncle or something like that." I'm like, nah, that's not what it said. That his uncle's daughter. That apostrophe S in it. Sometimes you gotta take your time. People be trying to read so fast because they're trying to get through the chapter. They're trying to get the 4 chapters a day. You gotta take your time to see what it's saying. But read on.
His uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
So he raised his cousin up as a daughter to him. So that shows you how Mordecai was. He gonna take responsibility. He's like, all right, you're an orphan. I got you. So it is what it is. All right. Let's keep reading.
Verse 8. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Hegai, that Esther was brought also into the king's house, to the custody of Hegai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her, out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women.
Keep reading.
Esther had not shown her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it.
Mordecai was like, hey, don't let them know what kindred you come from. And that was a good move. Because you always have haters around. People always hate Jews. You know what I'm saying? He been brought up since the Babylonian captivity. He gonna like, hey, don't even mention it. You're a beautiful woman that's gonna stand for herself. You're a beautiful woman. You're gonna know how to act. Cause you know what I'm saying? You went through all that. You're gonna raise a woman right. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna have a little crazy, no crazy girl. You know how it is. When a man grew up rough and he taking care of a woman, he gonna raise her up right. Cause she ain't have no back talk. That's what pretty much I'm saying. You can imagine brother went through Babylonian captivity, saw it happen, and went through that captivity, and then you got back talk as a woman. It ain't gonna happen. All your brothers know it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna stand. I'll read verse 12.
Verse 12. Now when every maid's turn was come to go into King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women. For so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women.
All right, so I had to read these fast because we got a lot of stuff to go. So she purified herself. That was the order. All the women had to go through this purification before they even meet the king. King like, I don't want to smell these women. Like, I want some real good smells when they come up in there. He didn't play that. All right, jump to verse 16.
Verse 16. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
So he said he wanted somebody what? Better than her. He made Esther queen instead of her. He wanted somebody better. All right, now let's see what was going on in the meantime. In the meantime, let's jump to verse 21.
Verse 21. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth, and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter,
So they sought out. They were like, "What the hell is going on here?" They figured, they were like, "What the hell? Somebody was coming after me. What y'all saying? All right, let's see what they saying is true." You see, they didn't just take it for word. Like, all right, let's make an inquisition. Let's see what the hell was going on. Read on.
it was found out. Therefore, they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king.
So he had to write in his books. These dudes was evil as hell. They were trying to kill me. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's go to the rest of the chapters of the book of Esther. That's the full name. It's a lot to read. But it's the book of Esther, the rest of it. Let's go to chapter 12 and start at 1.
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther, chapter 12 and verse 1. And Mordecaius, took his rest in the court with Gabbatha and Thara, the two eunuchs of the king.
You see that? Eunuchs, right? Read on.
And keepers of the palace. And he heard their devices and searched out their purposes. And
He was trying to figure out what the hell they trying to do. You heard him talking.
And learned that they were about to lay hands upon Artaxerxes the king. And so he certified the king of them. Then the king examined the two eunuchs, and after that they had confessed it, they were strangled. And the king made a record of these things, and Mordecaius also wrote thereof. So the king commanded Mordecaius to serve in the court, and for this he rewarded him. Howbeit, Amon, the son of Amadathus, the Agite, who was in great honor with the king, sought to molest Mordecaius and his people because of the two eunuchs of the king.
See that? I want y'all to read that last verse. I want you to read it real slow.
Verse 6. Howbeit, Amon, the son of Amadathus.
Amon is Haman. Got to write that down. Haman is Haman.
The Agite, who was in great honor with the king, sought to molest Mordecaius and his people because of the two eunuchs of the king.
You see that? Now, let's see if Haman going to say that. He ain't going to say what really went down. You got to understand, what we read in the rest of the book of Esther is what they figured out later. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get more understanding back and forth, but we want to speed up a little bit. Let's go back to Esther in the Bible, 3 and 1.
Esther chapter 3 and verse 1. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agite, and advance him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman. For the
now, Haman, the Agite, I want y'all to understand. We got to go there anyway. Explain what he is and who he was part of. Get 1 Samuel 15. You gotta read fast and go a little faster.
Verse 1, sir.
8.
1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 8. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive.
He took Agag, the king of the who?
And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive.
The Amalek. That's what we reading about here. Who Amalek came out of? What is people from? What they call his people? Want to know? Anybody know who the Amalekites are? Make sure y'all soaking in these classes. Obviously, Yahaziel went over this before. Is what? What y'all say? He's Idumean. He was of Esau. So as you read in chapter 12, what did he say? What he was mad at Haman? What he was mad at Mordecai about? He told on the eunuchs. Turn it down. Turn the main volume down a little bit. So he told on his eunuchs. That's that whole issue. But we're gonna see what he says. So go to Esther, chapter 3, verse 1. All right, Esther, read on.
Verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
You see that? Mordecai like, we don't do that. I'm a Jew. All right. We don't do that. And then now, and I'm going to talk through some of it. Now, you read down, Haman trying to say, wait a minute. The king said, y'all bow down to me. He tried to play that. He was mad because he didn't bow down and he got his units killed. Because guess what? Hey, go back to the rest of the book of Amos and read verse 2. What did we see? Go to chapter 16, verse 10. I'm gonna show you a little bit more about Haman, and the king was kind of getting upset because he didn't figure this out. We're gonna read a little bit about that if we have time. You gotta read that real quick, that verse.
The rest of Esther, chapter 16, verse 10. For Haman, a Macedonian.
A what?
A Macedonian.
He was a Macedonian. Who you think the Persians was fighting against? Macedonians. So they try to undercut. They try to sneak in there and assassinate him. You know.
The son of Ammedatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us.
You see that? And they received him. That we received this stranger. He was a Macedonian. Who else was the Macedonian that you read about? And who was the one that who destroyed the Persians, took over? Anybody know? You can just say it out loud. We don't got time for the mic. There you go, Macedonians. Eventually, they still made do. Haman was a Macedonian. Read that in 1 Maccabees 1:1. Go back to the book of Esther.
Esther chapter 3 and verse 3. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgresseth thou the king's commandment?
See that? He said, Why you transgress the king's commandment? They jump to verse 8.
Verse 8. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, There is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of
right there. What did he just say? Didn't that sound familiar? What they said about who? We was doing what? Building the temple. We were building the temple. They said the exact same thing. That should ring a bell in your head. I mean, you don't got no time to get into it. But I'm gonna just say it then. Guess what? Who was left behind when we went to Babylon? Who took over? The Edomites were still in our land the same way they are now. Already in our land. So they already knew. They know who we are. And guess what? In Judah, what the Ammonite. The Ammonite was like, hey, don't you mess with these people unless they transgress. In the book of Judah, they knew who we are. They knew who our God was because of the Persians already let us do our thing. So they'll be learning about you. You know, you bad job. They're trying to learn. They're like, so why you with a friend? They're hanging out this. Why you don't do this? Why you don't do that? They're trying to learn what is going on. What is your religion like? You get what I'm saying? So read that. Keep reading.
And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, There is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom. And their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's laws.
You see that? Now they don't even keep the king's laws. They don't keep what you tell them to do. Read.
Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
It's not for the king's what?
It is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
What did the people say at the other spot? They said the same thing. They trying to get them. Hey, these are malicious people. Don't take them in. So Haman got the king on their side. Because they told her, hey, we should get rid of all of them. Actually, let's jump to verse 13.
Verse 13. And the letters were sent by posts into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews.
All who?
All Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
So it's set up already to kill all of us on the 13th day of the month Adar. You see, and then coming again, you know, all on the all those things that happen is in a circle. Even the curses is all coming to God's judgment is in a circle. We just read about the same thing about the kids, the men, everybody getting put to death. We read 2 Chronicles chapter 36. A lot of stuff I'm not going over. We're gonna read similar things to that. All right, so now the 13th day of the month of Adar, which is the 12th month. Most of us just say the 12th month because is some kind of Babylonian stuff. All right, now read verse 4. I mean, chapter 4, verse 1.
Chapter 4, verse 1.
Read.
When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes.
Mordecai rent his clothes. He tore his clothes down. Everybody, you know, if you got a Christian family, they're going to be like, hey, rent rent your heart, not your garment, and all this and that. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? You can go to Joel chapter 2:13. A lot of scripture you go to tell them that you got to change your mind. You got to repent. That's what all that's about. But read on.
And put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and bitter cry.
So he cried with a loud and bitter cry because he hurting. He know that, hey, he calling throughout all the provinces. How many provinces? 120 something provinces.
Mhm.
He wrote out and said, hey, for month 13 day, kill them all. The number 2 guy under the king put that out there. So you like, oh my God, we're gonna have hundreds of thousands of people coming at us. What we gonna do? You get what I'm saying? All right, read on.
Verse 2 And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
Jump to verse 4.
Verse 4 So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him, but he received it not.
She was like, hey, you can't be dressed like that and come up in here. See, he's still like, I'm a queen. The king is over there. Don't come up in here. Like, give him some clothes. You know, rip the clothes up. Do some ashes on it. You looking tore up right now. Go to verse 10.
Verse 10 Again, Esther spake unto Hathach, and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death.
So this is Mordecai already told her, like, hey, you got to do something. You got to talk to the king. She's like, it ain't my turn. I had like 30 days before I go. So she's trying to explain to him, like, look, they'll put me to death for that if I go up and talk to him. You know, it's supposed to be coming up to the royal court like that. Read on.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But
so if the king want to ask you, like, all right, I talk to him. You put the golden scepter up. Read on.
But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
For 30 days, she was not called to come up there. Read on.
Verse 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews.
You think you special, they're going to get you too. You think you special, think they ain't going to find out who you are? They're going to get you too. Don't think you special. Read on.
For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
All right. So he said, regardless if it's you or not, we're going to get our deliverance. That's that faith. That's that faith right there. Like, if you ain't going to do it, guess what? Somebody going to deliver us from this. Go to the rest of Esther, chapter 14. 13. This is Esther praying because you praying what Mordecai said to her. This is Esther praying. Let me see what she gonna say to see. I'm trying to paint the picture for you. Gotta hurry up a little bit. Run out of time.
Esther chapter 14 and verse 13. Give me eloquent speech in my mouth before the lion.
The lion is the king. He said, give me eloquent speech before I go in there. Read.
Turn his heart to hate him that fighteth against us.
Turn his heart. Make sure the people that coming against us hate them. Read on.
That there may be an end of him and of all that are like-minded to him.
Read on.
But deliver us with thine hand, and help me that am desolate, and which have no other helper but thee. Thou knowest all things, O Lord. Thou knowest that I hate the glory of the unrighteous, and abhor the bed of the uncircumcised, and of all the heathen.
See that? She was trying to show, she said, the Lord know everything. Because you know what Mordecai just said to her earlier. He like, I don't like this stuff. I don't want that man. He's uncircumcised. You get what I'm saying? See, like, that. That's a part of her prayer. Because Mordecai was like, hey, what you talking about? Mordecai going off on her. That's, raise her as his daughter. He's like, what you talking about? You ain't going to hide. You're not real get. Hey, they're trying to kill all of us. What's wrong with you? Did you like it? You like being there? You like just shacking up in there with him? Because it's dire need. You know what I'm saying? You ain't no finna tiptoe around it. As he went praying, he's like, I don't like this. I don't like the uncircumcised, the heathens. Like, I was, pretty much forced to do this. That's what she's praying about. All right, let's go back to the book of Esther. Start at verse 15.
Esther chapter 4, verse 15. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer: Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day.
You see that fast, not to eat nor drink for 3 days. They fast for 3 days. And you also will see in Jonah chapter 3, verse 5. You read about it there. We didn't taste anything, we didn't eat, and we didn't drink. That was the fast that we did in times of trouble. All right? Now, so we fasting and we praying. Now let's jump. Chapter 5. Esther goes to the court. Chapter 5 is that verse.
Esther chapter 5 and verse 2. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be given even thee to the half of the kingdom.
He like, whatever you want, I give you up to the half of my kingdom. He was in love with Esther, boy. I don't know what she said and how good she was to him. Whatever she did to that king, he was like, I give you anything you ask for, up to half of the kingdom.
And Esther
let's jump down to, read verse 4.
And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Then the king said, Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
You see that? You like, hey, go get Haman right now. We about that. Hey, she don't did it. Hey, go get him. So Haman went. He getting prepared for the banquet. About to go. He saw Mordecai standing in the back. The hell is going on? So he kind of, you read it, he kind of like, you like, oh, it's something fishy, but he like, I don't care. That's Esau's pride. He didn't know what was going on. I'm going to show you some of his pride. Read verse 11.
Verse 11. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches, and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king.
He was telling this to his friends and his wife. Well, look what I done did. What I want to accomplish? That's what he's doing right now. Jump to verse 14.
Verse 14. Then said Zeresh, his wife, and all.
Now his wife, you know how Esau is with their wives. They'll let their wife do the dirty work sometimes. They'll just sit there and just chill. But read that.
Then said Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends unto him, Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou and merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the king and the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
So she don't juice them up. Go ahead and make them gallows and put them up there. And then when the time is set, you know what time did he set? The 12th month of what? 12th month and what day? The 13th day. She like, go and set it up. It's almost tomorrow. You about to hook them up. About to kill this nigga. I mean, my bad. Some people don't like that N word. But it is what it is. They were like, you about to kill this nigga. That's what them white folks, you know how them white folks is. They're like, it's picnic time. You don't pick out nigga and we about to kill him. All right, it's be the 6 and 1.
Esther chapter 6, verse 1. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles.
You see that? You remember those Chronicles? I didn't really stress that too much. We wrote what Mordecai did for him in the Chronicles. So for the time like this, he can remember. You see what's going on. He's like, all right, you read my books. Read on.
And they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, 2 of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, What honor and dignity hath been done to Mordecai for this?
You see, he saved my life. What we do for him? If we do anything for him, you like, what the hell? Damn, I forgot. What we do for him? Read on.
Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, There is nothing done for him.
There's what?
There is nothing done for him.
So the king like, oh, I owe this man. He like, I owe this man. Now, I'm going to have to talk this through. Haman coming up, prideful, talking about, we going to kill Mordecai. He's like, he came up, you like, whoa, what is this? What these gallows are actually. Go verse 6.
Verse 6. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, What shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, To whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself?
So Haman, he said, who we gonna honor today? It's gonna be me. I know it's gonna be me. You know, you saw you were just talking earlier. I know it's gonna be me. And they say that you're gonna let the royal pearl be brought unto the king useth to wear. So he got the garments and everything ready for the person that's gonna get honored. Verse 10.
Verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, Make haste and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, Thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house, mourning and having his head covered.
So he felt he was embarrassed. He embarrassed himself trying to be all prideful. Let's go to chapter 7, verse 1.
Esther 7, verse 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
Yeah, he still is letting them know, hey, you can get half this kingdom if you want to. Read on.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, Who is he, and where is he, that durst presume in his heart to do so?
Whoa. Who is this that's trying to kill you? Who the hell? The hell is this? I only had you. You haven't had it for 30 days yet. Like, what the hell is this? Read on.
And Esther said, The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman.
Who is it?
Is this wicked Haman?
Is this wicked man Haman? What did they say in the book of Malachi? the wicked. Is what Job 9:24? The wicked. He said this wicked man Haman. Read on.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
He was terrified. He was like, what? You know that he was in the banquet. He was like sitting there like, talking about me? Oh shit. Cause you don't set me up. Got me in on the three of y'all here. Set me up like this. Read on.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden, and Haman stood up to make requests for his life to Esther the queen.
So the king jumped up like, hell no, hell no, you walking off, marching around like, hell no, they finna kill Esther. Hell no. Girl bad as hell. Read on.
For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
So he started begging Esther. Esther sitting on the bed. He's begging her, don't get me killed. Read on. Watch this. It's going to be funny.
Verse 8. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed.
You see that? He was begging. He was on the bed now begging this woman not to get him killed. And then the king walked back in and see this dude on the bed with Esther. Read on.
Whereon Esther was. Then said the king, Will he force the queen also before me in the house?
You like, what the hell? He trying to rape my woman up in there? The hell is this? You on the bed with my wife? I'm like, Dad, hey, this dude. And now he like, oh, well, I guess that was just my time, my turn. You gotta imagine how this wicked Haman doing. Like, wait. Nah, I wasn't there like that. It ain't what it seems. Well, hold on. Give it just a second. He like, nah, bro. Tried to kill her. He talking about you gonna kill her and all those people. Now you on the bed with her to try to snatch her up to rape her. Read on.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
So they snatched him up, put the bag over his head. You already know what's about to go down when they do that. Read on.
And Harbona, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, Behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai,
They made them gallows, what his wife was telling them that they made earlier that day. Read on.
who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon.
Hang him instead.
So they hang Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
Now he good. All right, I'm good. Cracking on did all this crap. What the hell is wrong with him? And you gotta understand. You see what happened. Even in the what we read about in Daniel, what happened when after Daniel went into the lion's den, and nothing happened. Who got put in the lion's den? Exactly the same when they accused him of doing something wrong. You're like, nah, you go in the lion's den and see what happened to you. Rip this whole in the Jews and see what happens. 8 and 1. Chapter 8 and verse 1.
Esther chapter 8 verse 1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen.
He gave he gave her his house. He's like, hey, you know what? That's your house. You can have that. Read verse 2. Jump to verse 2. We
Verse
jump
2.
around a little bit.
And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai.
Then gave Mordecai his ring. Read on.
And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
Now Mordecai is over Haman's house. Jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5. And said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor
This
in
is
his,
Esther talking, by the way. Read on.
and if I've had found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred?
You got to understand, he still wrote those letters. Those letters still out there. He's like, hey, but, you know, what we going to do about these letters? What you going to have us do? What can we do to protect ourselves? On to verse 11.
Verse 11. Wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
See that? Gather yourselves together. What's the precept of that? Y'all know? Zephaniah what? 2 and what? I know you got it. Yeah, read that real quick. Real quick. Hold that, because you know we're going right back. King said, hey, y'all gather yourselves together. Because, people trying to kill you already. Read.
Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
All right, jump back. He said, y'all ain't desired. They're trying to kill all of y'all. Gather yourselves together. Read.
Esther chapter 8, verse 12. Upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely, upon the 13th day of
The what day?
Upon the 13th day.
The 13th day, read.
Of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, the copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was established unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves on their enemies.
So on that day, guess what? Y'all get ready. Y'all gonna be fighting back. Trying to put up a what they say, put up a shut up. That's what one movie that I watched.
Verse 14.
15.
Verse 15. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white.
And
with
some Bibles that'll put a translation, it'll be violet. Read on.
And with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple, and the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad.
You see that? They put purple on them again. Well, we read. Who else got purple put on them? Who else that we read about today? And what? Purple and a what? What you put on it? Purple and a gold chain put on his neck. Read on.
Verse 16. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
You see how they had all the gods mixed up? They were like, you know what? We can become Jews. We can convert to Judaism or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you see today. Some same people. They're like, we've been doing this for centuries. Yeah, we can read about it. They're like, yeah, y'all been converting for centuries. You still ain't the Jew.
Right.
That's why Zerubbabel said, what y'all, we don't got nothing to do with y'all. They jump to verse 9 and 5.
Esther chapter 9 and verse 5. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them. And in Shushan,
Did we just read that? Those that hate you. Actually, let's jump to verse 14. So they slaughtering everybody. Let's jump to verse 14.
verse 14. And the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
And they hanged all the sons. Hanged 10 of them. All right, jump to verse 20.
Verse 20. And Mordecai wrote all these things, and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
Giving portions one to another on that feast, because that's what the gift is given. Like, we give gifts in here sometimes, 'cause that's what we were doing back then. We were feasting and we were giving gifts. And guess what? It's not a Sabbath. So guess what? You like, oh snap, forgot. Go to the store and don't forget again. Buy that gift and bring it to the whoever you want to buy a gift for. Read verse 26.
Verse 26. Wherefore they called these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year.
So that is the feast of Purim. That's why they call it the feast of Purim. And what the lots that was set up for Mordecai and for us to die as a people, guess what? They reversed it, and it was for them. The feast of Purim. Now let's see the other name that they would call it. Let's jump to they gonna be I probably got 2 more scriptures real quick because I know it's getting late. Actually, I'm gonna just preface it. You go to Second Maccabees, and we're gonna read just 35 through 37. All right, so it was a second. Oh my bad, the last chapter, 15. So it's a man named Nicanor, right? He came against the Jews to fight us, kill us. He started being, and they actually in him and Maccabees, they used to get along pretty good, but then he started getting a little shifty. He was like, I'm gonna go to war with y'all, cause that's what he was commanded to do: go to war and kill Judas Maccabeus. But Judas Maccabeus, as we all know, he ain't gonna be able to kill him. So he cut him up, and we won. So that's the preferences. That's the preference to what we about to read right now. That's what I'm saying. Esau's hate. That's what it's Mordecai's day and Esau's hate. Because all the feast or the memorials that we have outside of Leviticus 23, guess what? It was due to us being avenged from Esau's hate. All right, read that verse 35.
2 Maccabees chapter 15, verse 35. He hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all of the help of the Lord.
See that? He hanged him up. Hanged his head, chopped his head off and hanged him up.
And they ordained all with a common decree, in no case to let that day pass without a solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which is in the Syrian tongue is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day.
The day before what?
The day before Mordecai's day.
The day before Mordecai's day. That's what it was called in the Feast of Purim. Understand? So if somebody say Mordecai's day, guess what? They talking about the Feast of Purim. If they tell you something about the Purim, they talking about Mordecai's day. Or Mordecai's day, how we would say it. Y'all understand? 'Cause we ain't Greek. Not just joking. We still say Jesus, that's Greek. But y'all understand? So guess what? All right, that's it for me. Y'all have any questions?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His word